ISPF is a non-profit organization that works for stronger ties between India and the United States. India witnesses an unprecedented surge in testing with over 11.7 lakh COVID tests conducted in the last 24 hours and over 4.5 crore tests conducted so far. India reaches another peak of over 68.5 thousand single-day recoveries in the last 24 hours. Recovery rate crosses 77% with over 29.7 lakh recoveries. Union Finance Minister reviews the loan resolution framework for COVID-19 related stress and reviews the state of preparedness for implementation with the heads of scheduled commercial banks and NBFCs, and says that when moratorium on loan payments is lifted, borrowers must be given support. Army Chief General Naravane on a two-day visit to Ladakh and take stock of the situation in eastern Ladakh along the LAC. General Naravane is being briefed by senior field commanders in the light of the recent developments there. In yet another embarrassment to Pakistan, the United Nations Security Council rejects Islamabad's application for listing 2 Indians under the sanctions list. The move is blocked by the US, UK, France, Germany and Belgium. Parliamentary Affairs Minister says that the government spoke to all opposition parties in advance for not holding question hour, assures everyone except the West Bengal MP, Derek O'Brien, agreed to the arrangement, and says that the government is not running away from debates and is ready to discuss all issues. And in sports, India's Sumit Nagal is to take on the world number 3 Dominic Thiem in the second round of the US Open later today. The top seed Karolina Pliskova scratched out after a straight set defeat at the hands of a French rival Carolina Garcia. In the men's category, the top seed Novak Djokovic cruises into the third round. Namaskar and welcome to the news. I'm Mark Lynn. Here's our top story. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will deliver the special keynote address at the US ISPF, the third annual leadership summit of that forum, at 9 p.m. through a video conference. The US-India Strategic Partnership Forum is what the US ISPF stands for. It's a non-profit organization that works for a partnership between India and the United States to get stronger. The theme of this 5-day summit that began on the 31st of August is US-India Navigating New Challenges, and the theme covers various subjects such as India's potential in becoming a global manufacturing hub, opportunities in India's gas market, ease of doing business to attract FDI in India, common opportunities and challenges in tech space, also Indo-Pacific economic issues, innovation in public health and others. Union ministers and senior officials are also participating in the virtual summit. And let's now take a look at the current situation with regard to COVID-19 across the country. The recovery rate has reached 77.09%. The case fatality rate has dropped further to 1.75%. 68,584 recoveries were recorded yesterday, taking the cumulative total of recovered patients to 29,70,492. And with this, the recovery rate currently stands at 77.09%. India's three-pronged strategy, test, trace, treat, is proving to be a success. And the number of active COVID-19 cases in the country stands at 8 lakh, 8,15,538. This is 21.16% of the total cases reported so far. And in another development, India has witnessed an unprecedented surge in COVID-19 testing. The samples tested in a single day have crossed 11 lakh mark. 11,70,000 tests were conducted in the last 24 hours. The total number of tests conducted stands at 4,55,09,380.
इस सप्ताह की जो 5 मुख्य बातें हैं वो ये हैं कि अब तक हमने देश में 4,50,00,000 से अधिक टेस्ट कंडक्ट कर लिए हैं। विश्व में अब केवल एक ही देश है जिसने कि हमसे ज़्यादा क्यूमुलेटिव टेस्ट्स किए हैं। पिछले 24 घंटों में 11 लाख से ज़्यादा टेस्ट देश में किए गए। 11,72,000 टेस्ट पिछले 24 घंटे में हुए। ये अपने आप में एक रिकॉर्ड है। रिकवर्ड पेशेंट्स जो हैं, जो लोग ठीक हो गए और भले चंगे हो गए, उनकी संख्या अब 29 लाख से भी अधिक हो गई है। 29,70,000 के लगभग पेशेंट्स हैं जो रिकवर हुए हैं। और देश में सिंगल डे की हाईएस्ट रिकवरी कल रिकॉर्ड की गई, जबकि 68,584 व्यक्ति रिकवर हुए।
The centre is also coordinating with the Delhi government to check the COVID-19 cases following the recent rise in the number of cases in Delhi.
दिल्ली के बारे में हम केवल ये आपको बताना चाहेंगे, हमने पहले भी निवेदन किया कि दिल्ली में एक्टिव केसेस की संख्या में बढ़ाव और मृत्यु की संख्या में बढ़ोतरी को देखते हुए केंद्र सरकार के गृह मंत्रालय के नेतृत्व में हम दिल्ली सरकार के साथ इंगेज कर रहे हैं। हमने संवाद उनसे किया है, क्या क्या गतिविधियां नहीं की जा सकती हैं उनके बारे में भी बात हुई है। माननीय उपराज्यपाल महोदय के स्तर पर भी हाल में ही एक बैठक हुई है, जिसमें कि ICMR ने, ऑल इंडिया इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मेडिकल साइंसेज न्यू दिल्ली ने और मंत्रालय ने तथा नीति आयोग के सदस्य स्वास्थ्य ने भाग लिया था और हमने उन्हें कुछ स्पेसिफिक दिशा निर्देश दिए हैं। हम आशा करते हैं कि अगर उन दिशा निर्देशों का पालन पूरी प्रभावी तरीके से होगा जैसे पहले किया गया था, तो ज़रूर हम नए केसेस के नंबर पर भी और मृत्यु के नंबर पर भी नियंत्रण पा पाएंगे।
The National Expert Committee on Vaccine Administration has engaged with 5 domestic producers and manufacturers of vaccines from abroad. It is looking at various procurement and other mechanisms.
The National Expert Committee on Vaccine Administration has met 4 times and its subcommittees have met twice. It has engaged with the 5 major domestic producers of vaccine. It has also engaged with manufacturers of vaccine who are outside the country, and it is looking at various procurement and financing mechanisms. At this point in time, that is all we can share with you.
Moving on to our next story then, the Army Chief General M.M. Naravane is visiting Ladakh to take stock of the operational situation in eastern Ladakh in light of the current developments at the LAC. The Army Chief's 2-day visit to Ladakh comes in the backdrop of the latest skirmish at south bank of Pangong Tso in eastern Ladakh on the intervening night of the 29th and 30th of August. The Indian Army has preempted the PLA efforts to intrude. After the incident, the brigadier level talks were held from the 31st of August at Churchill border. And the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo also said that the United States is hoping for a peaceful resolution to the situation on the India-China LAC. Pompeo added that China is being engaged. In fact, China is engaging with the Taiwan Strait.
On to your questions. The Vande Bharat mission, as on 2nd of September, has already repatriated almost 13 lakh Indians through different modes. These modes are Air India, private and foreign carriers, chartered flights, naval ships, and land border crossings. The phase 6 of this mission has been operational from the 1st of September. And in this phase, 1,007 international flights from 24 countries have been scheduled to operate during this month. They are expected to repatriate over 2 lakh people. Bilateral travel arrangements in the form of the travel air bubble, flight operations from 11 countries form the bulk of this phase. Similar arrangements are being negotiated with more countries by the Ministry of Civil Aviation. As always, this ministry continues to closely monitor the demand for repatriation and travel to India from different countries through our missions and posts, and is working with the airlines to ensure assistance. Now we'll move on to your questions, and I'll request Yatin to take over.
So first question is from Akhilesh Human from Rajya Sabha TV. He has asked, there are reports that India-Bangladesh inland waterway is to be operational soon. Can we have more detail, please?
Akhilesh ji, by way of background, you would know that we have a protocol for inland water trade and transit between India and Bangladesh, and this protocol was signed in 1972. It provides for inland water connectivity, it enhances bilateral trade between the two countries and also connectivity to the northeastern region of India. Now, under this protocol in 2019-20, about 3.5 million metric ton of cargo was transported between India and Bangladesh through various protocol routes, and there have been about 8 routes so far. With the signing of the second addendum to this protocol, we have added 2 more routes. So the number of routes have gone up from 8 to 10, and of particular significance is the Sonamura-Daukandi route, which it is significant because it connects Tripura to the national waterways of India through Bangladesh for the first time. And a trial run has commenced from Daukandi and would conclude at Sonamura on the 5th of September, and it would conclude in the presence of the Honorable Chief Minister of Tripura. Our High Commissioner in Bangladesh will also be joining this event. So this is yet another recent connectivity initiative with Bangladesh. You would recall that a few weeks back we successfully completed the trial run of container cargo from Kolkata to Agartala through the Chattogram port. So this initiative will greatly boost our connectivity with the northeastern region and also boost bilateral trade with Bangladesh. Enhanced connectivity through such inland waterways, particularly in this COVID-19 scenario, is significant because it provides for economical, faster, safer and cleaner mode of transportation for traders and business communities from both sides. So this is in the form of some details of this initiative.
Shankar Kumar from India versus Disinformation has asked, how many bilateral meetings Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will have during his visit to Moscow to attend SCO meet? Will he meet his Chinese counterpart on the sidelines of the meeting?
See, as you would know, RM is visiting Moscow for the SCO Defence Ministers meeting, and during his visit he will be meeting with the Russian Defence Minister to discuss bilateral issues of interest. As far as the other meeting that you mentioned, as of now I have no information on that.
Next set of questions are on vaccine cooperation. Elizabeth from Live Mint has asked, is there anything you can share on cooperation between India and Bangladesh on COVID-19 vaccine? Huma Siddiqui from Financial Express has asked, Baximco Pharmaceutical Limited has tied up with Serum Institute of India to produce COVID-19 vaccine, while the Chinese have only been allowed to conduct trials but are yet to enter into any commercial agreements with local firms. Can we see this as an outcome of Foreign Secretary's visit to Dhaka?
I had mentioned that the COVID-19 vaccine was discussed during Foreign Secretary's visit to Dhaka, and we had assured Bangladesh that as a close neighbor, as a strategic partner, they would be given high priority in supply of these vaccines once they are ready. And regarding the tie-up that you talk of, we are glad to note that private enterprises from both sides are working in this direction to take this ahead.
Next set of questions are on EM's participation at SCO conference. Neeraj Kumar from News 18 India has asked, क्या 10 सितंबर को SCO की मॉस्को में होने वाली बैठक में विदेश मंत्री एस जयशंकर हिस्सा लेंगे? क्या चीन के विदेश मंत्री से सीमा विवाद पर भी बातचीत होगी? Sridhar from Asian Age has asked, can you give us details on EM Jaishankar's forthcoming visit to Moscow for the SCO Foreign Minister Conference? Himanshu Mishra from Amar Ujala has asked, क्या रूस में होने वाली शंघाई सहयोग संगठन की विदेश मंत्रियों की बैठक में विदेश मंत्री श्री एस जयशंकर अपने चीनी समकक्ष के साथ अलग से बातचीत करेंगे? क्या विदेश एससीओ SCO की बैठक में शिरकत करेंगे? Similar questions have been asked by Siddhant from Vion, Shrinjoy from Times Now, Maha from CNN News 18, Devi Rupa from The Wire.
EM will be visiting Moscow to attend the SCO Council of Foreign Ministers meeting, and this meeting is scheduled on the 10th of September. As regards the meetings that you are asking about, once his engagements are finalized, we will let you know.
मधुरेंद्र फ्रॉम न्यूज नेशन हैज आस्क्ड, नेपाल के साथ जारी सीमा विवाद के समाधान के लिए भारत क्या कर रहा है? इस फ्रंट पर नेपाल की सरकार के साथ कोई डेवलपमेंट हो तो बताएं।
मधुरेंद्र जी, सीमा मामले पे हमारी क्या पोजीशन है, मैंने इसको स्पष्ट किया था कुछ हफ्तों पहले, और इस पे फिलहाल और कोई चेंज नहीं है, तो मैं और कुछ कहना नहीं चाहूँगा।
सिद्धांत फ्रॉम वियन हैज आस्क्ड, इज स्क्वाड मीट बीइंग प्लान्ड इन दिल्ली? Ranjit Kumar from Rakshak News has asked, is India hosting quadrilateral group ministerial meeting next month?
Yes, we look forward to holding the Quad meeting later this year, and details are being worked out.
मधुरेंद्र from News Nation has asked, चीन ने भारत में अपने ऐप बैन का विरोध किया है और इस बैन को अवैध कह रहा है। भारत की क्या प्रतिक्रिया है? सिद्धांत from Vion has asked, has Chinese side taken up the issue of app ban with the Indian authorities, and what is our reaction to that? Similar question has also been asked by Narendra Nath from Navbharat Times.
As conveyed in my response, it was on July 2nd, that India has one of the most open regimes for FDI in the world, and this includes for internet companies as well as for digital technology companies. Now, digital technology companies, while operating here, they have the responsibility to abide by the rules and regulations issued by relevant ministries and departments of the Government of India, and particularly those rules and regulations which pertain to data security and privacy of data. So you would have seen the announcement by METI yesterday, where they have said that the activities that these apps have engaged in are prejudicial to the sovereignty and integrity of India, defense of India, to the security of state and public order. So what I can say is that we remain open. We continue to welcome foreign direct investment in the country, including in the area of internet technology. And however, what we would like to say is companies, when they operate here, they have to operate in accordance with the regulatory framework of the Government of India.
मधुरेंद्र फ्रॉम न्यूज नेशन हैज आस्क्ड, भगोड़े जाकिर नायक के मामले में कोई अपडेट हो तो अवगत कराएं।
मधुरेंद्र जी, जाकिर नायक के मामले में फिलहाल कोई अपडेट नहीं है।
मधुरेंद्र हैज आस्क्ड अगेन दैट कुलभूषण जाधव मसले में भारत ने क्या कदम उठाया, इस केस में क्या डेवलपमेंट है? कादम्बनी फ्रॉम एनडीटीवी इंडिया हैज आस्क्ड, एनी अपडेट ऑन कुलभूषण जाधव केस, लॉयर एंड consular access to Kulbhushan Jadhav?
See, we are in touch with Pakistan through diplomatic channels on this matter, and the Government of India is taking all possible steps to ensure the safety of Shri Kulbhushan Jadhav.
Manash from PTI has asked, has India finalized the dates for hosting the next edition of 2+2 dialogue with US? If so, can you share it? Will the US delegation visit India, or will it be a virtual meeting?
We look forward to holding this 2+2 meeting. The details, including the timing of this meeting, are being worked out.
Shrinjoy from Times Now has asked, Pakistan recently wanted Indians to be proscribed by the UNSC. What is the current situation? Similar question has also been asked by Deepak Ranjan from PTI Bhasha.
See, there was a proposal from Pakistan to add 2 Indians to this 1267 ISIS and Al-Qaeda sanctions list. This was objected to by some council members, and thereafter the Secretariat blocked this proposal from Pakistan and issued a notification. So what has happened with this is Pakistan's attempt to list all 4 Indian nationals in this 1267 sanctions list has failed. You may also have seen the tweet from our permanent mission in New York thanking the council members for blocking this blatant attempt by Pakistan to politicize the working of this 1267 procedure by giving it a religious color.
Suman Sharma has asked, given that both UAE and Israel have cordial relations with India, in what way and in which sector can India provide assistance to both in strengthening their newly formed relationship? Has Israel or UAE approached India for any kind of help?
Suman, you would have seen our statement welcoming the full normalization of relations between UAE and Israel. Now, both countries are our strategic partners, and we work closely with them in several areas. We work with both of them, and as far as opportunities for cooperation in projects of common interest, we will be happy to work with them.
Next set of question is on LSE. नीरज कुमार from News 18 India has asked, भारत चीन सीमा पर ताजा विवाद के बाद अभी क्या स्थिति है? सैन्य बातचीत के अलावा कूटनीतिक स्तर पर कोई बातचीत प्रस्तावित है? श्रीधर from Asian Age has asked, is the de-escalation process with China in the Ladakh sector as good as dead given China's latest military provocation? Does India believe the process will get any result now? Venkat Narayan has asked, India and China have been talking about withdrawal and disengagement of troops from the border. Is there any plan on the table to settle the border issue for good and to restore normalcy? Srinjoy from Times Now has asked, China says India crossed the LSE. It's a reference to India's precautionary deployment. What is the situation in the North Bank and Depsang? Maha from CNN News 18 has asked, what did the Chinese side tell MEA when the matter of 31st August attempted ingression in Chushul sector was taken up? Devi Rupa from Vaya has asked, there have been several rounds of talks at brigade commander level following the August 29-30 intrusion by China, but this have not been fruitful. Are they going to higher level diplomatic talks, possible phone call between NSS and foreign ministers? Sanjeev Trivedi from News 24 has asked, attempts by Chinese to alter the LSE are now taking place even as the military and diplomatic talks are on. Will it be proper to conclude that even the talks, instead of diffusing the tension, have become a part of Chinese combat strategy? Vijay Lakshmi from India TV has asked, LSE पर मौजूदा हालात को लेकर चीन की तरफ से बार बार यही कहा जा रहा है कि भारत की तरफ से नियमों का उल्लंघन हुआ. इस पर विदेश मंत्रालय का क्या कहना है? Kamaljeet from India Today has asked, where do things stand as of now between India and China on Ladakh? Has previous engagements resulted in any dividends? And what measures are in place to resolve current crisis? How many points are there on escalation on currently? Elizabeth from Live Mint has asked, after the fresh tensions with China over the weekend, are there any diplomatic talks planned with China? Is EM likely to meet Chinese foreign minister for a bilateral next week? Similar questions have been asked by Siddhant from Vion, Kadamani from NDTV India, Madhurendra from News Nation, Manash from PTI, Nainima from Print, Devdev from Sankei, Shailendra from News 18, Naz Asgar from India News Stream, and Anish from UNI.
See, in my statement of 1st of September, I had clearly articulated the government's position on the developments post the attempt by Chinese troops to unilaterally change the status quo in the south bank of Pangong Lake on the night of August 29th and early morning of August 30th. I am not going to go over the Chinese actions that caused the recent escalation. I can say that the ground commanders are still holding discussions to resolve the situation. We reiterate the consensus reached between the two foreign ministers and special representatives that the situation in the border should be handled in a responsible manner and either side should not take any provocative action or escalate matters. It is clear that the situation we witness over the past 4 months is a direct result of the actions taken by the Chinese side that sought to effect unilateral change of status quo. These actions resulted in violation of the bilateral agreements and protocol which ensured peace and tranquility in the border areas for close to 3 decades. Now, the way ahead is negotiations, both through the diplomatic and military channels. The Indian side is firmly committed to resolving all outstanding issues through peaceful dialogue. We therefore strongly urge the Chinese side to sincerely engage the Indian side with the objective of expeditiously restoring the peace and tranquility in the border areas through complete disengagement and de-escalation in accordance with the bilateral agreements and protocols. Any further questions, Yatan?
No, sir.
Thank you. So this concludes the weekly briefing.
So that was the weekly briefing of the Ministry of External Affairs. The spokesperson Anurag there giving us the Anurag Srivastava giving us the important points which covered a whole range of international affairs, including the situation on the LAC with China, the Raksha Mantri's visit to Moscow, and various other relationship issues, especially with regard to Israel, UAE, and India in its international sphere. Let's continue with the bulletin. The Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh is in Moscow on a 3-day visit, and he was received by the Major General Bakhtiv Yuri Nikolaevich. This was at the airport. He will attend a combined meeting of the defense ministers of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the SCO, the Collective Security Treaty Organization, the CSTO, and the Commonwealth of Independent States, CIS member states. The meeting is taking place in commemoration of the 75th anniversary of the victory of World War II. The Raksha Mantri will also discuss bilateral cooperation and issues of mutual interest with the Defense Minister of Russia, General Shoigu. Air Chief Marshal RKS Bhaduria, the Chief of Air Staff, visited the frontline air bases in Eastern Air Command yesterday. On his arrival at the Eastern Air Command, the CAS was received by the respective air officers commanding, who apprised him of the readiness and the state of operational preparedness of the combat units under their command. The CAS also met and interacted with air warriors serving in these units of his visit. He lauded the focused efforts by the station personnel towards maintaining proficiency in all roles envisaged and urged them to continue performing their duty with diligence.